Dinner's canceled, Mom. Too tired. That text broke me. But what truly shattered me? Standing outside in the Seattle rain, watching my son raise a glass of champagne paid for with my credit card, while I stood alone with the birthday pie I baked for him. I'm Evie Harper, 72 years old. I gave up art school, sold my wedding ring, and worked double shifts at the diner just to raise a boy who now calls me a burden. If you've ever felt invisible in your own family, this story is for you. In just 3 months, I froze his accounts, disinherited him, and finally reclaimed my voice and my peace. I'll show you how I went from being left out in the rain to standing tall at the crab shack, slamming legal papers on the table while his fork froze midair. Don't wait until your love is weaponized against you. If you're a mother who's given everything, this might be the moment you take your power back. Before I share the rest, can I ask, what's your mood today? Are you curled up at home out running errands? Or maybe somewhere in between? Drop a comment below and tell me where you're reading this from. I'll be reading every word, and who knows, your story might echo a part of mine. Let's dive in together. My phone buzzed on the counter, Nathan's name flashing. Dinner's canceled, Mom. Too tired. The words stung sharp and cold like a betrayal I couldn't name. Why did it feel like he'd slammed a door in my face? I stood in my kitchen, the heart of my modest Seattle apartment, on July 3rd, 2024. Rain tapped the windows, a soft, relentless patter matching the ache in my chest. The air smelled of warm apple pie, its crust golden in the oven, baked for Nathan's 38th birthday. Faded photos lined the walls, Nathan as a boy grinning on a shiny red bike, Clara, my daughter, blowing out candles, James, my late husband, his smile distant. Each frame held a sacrifice, a piece of me given to them. I'd always hoped it was enough. I checked my phone again, fingers trembling, willing another message to appear. Nothing. The pie's cinnamon scent curled around me, a family tradition meant to gather us close. Nathan's text sat heavy like a stone in my gut. Too tired. He was never too tired for the crab shack, our spot for every birthday where lobster and laughter flowed. I sliced apples earlier, my knife steady despite the years recalling the overtime shifts at the diner to buy Nathan that bike he begged for. His eyes had lit up, but he never said thank you. I thought love didn't need thanks. Maybe I was wrong. Was I their mother, or just their means? The question gnawed unbidden as I wiped flour from my hands. I'd given them everything, my youth, my dreams, my savings. After James died, I sold my wedding jewelry to keep Nathan in college debt-free. Clara, too, though she drifted away, caught in her own life. I clung to hope, baking this pie, believing tonight we'd be a family again. I dialed Nathan, my voice soft, almost pleading. Hey, honey, you sure about canceling? I made your favorite pie. The line crackled, his sigh heavy. Stop nagging, Mom. We're tired, okay? His tone was sharp, a blade slicing through my hope. He hung up before I could reply. My breath caught chest tight as if he'd pushed me away with his words. I paced the kitchen, folding a dish rag, then unfolding it. The fabric worn thin like my patience. Invisible. That's what I was to him now. A memory flickered Nathan at 10, demanding a pricey skateboard, his face red with tantrums. I worked double shifts to get it proud to see him smile. That boy was gone, replaced by a man who dismissed me with a text. My fingers brushed my purse, pulling it open to tuck the dish rag inside a nervous habit. Something crinkled. I pulled out a crumpled receipt dated today from the crab shack. My heart thudded. The total was high lobster champagne, enough for a crowd. Nathan's crowd. My hands shook as I stared at the paper. He lied. Dinner wasn't canceled. They were there feasting while I stood alone in my kitchen pie, cooling on the counter. The rain outside grew louder, a steady drumbeat urging me to move. I grabbed my raincoat, its zipper catching in my haste. My maternal devotion stretched thin over years, snapped like a frayed thread. I had to see it for myself to know if Nathan could really shut me out. The pie sat untouched, its warmth fading. I snatched my keys, their jingle sharp against the rain's patter. My heart raced, not with fear, but with a spark of something new, suspicion, maybe anger. I stepped toward the door, raincoat flapping, the receipt crumpled in my fist. Was Nathan at the Crab Shack laughing without me? I needed to know, even if the truth broke me. Their laughter hit me through the glass, sharp as a slap. My credit card paid for it all. I stood on the sidewalk outside the Crab Shack, Seattle's rain blurring the restaurant's neon signs. Jazz music hummed softly, leaking through the glass walls. The air smelled of salt and wet pavement, cold against my skin. I shivered in my raincoat, the receipt from my purse crumpled in my fist. Dated today. For this place. Nathan's lie, dinner's canceled, Mom burned in my mind, a wound I couldn't ignore. I pressed closer to the window, my breath fogging the glass. Inside, Nathan sat at a long table, his blazer crisp, his grin wide. Vanessa, his wife, tossed her hair, her diamond earrings bought with my savings, catching the chandelier's light. Sophie, my granddaughter, giggled, her fork spearing an oyster. Vanessa's parents leaned in, clinking champagne flutes. My credit card rested in a leather folder, a silent witness to their feast. Lobster tails, oysters, champagne, all on me. My heart sank heavy as the rain pooling at my feet. I remembered Nathan's charm years ago when he took my card. Just for emergencies, Mom, he'd said, his smile warm his arm around my shoulders. I'd felt needed, proud to help my son. Now he raised a glass, his voice carrying through an open window. To new beginnings, he toasted the words, slicing through me. New beginnings without me. My sacrifice is working. Double shifts, selling my jewelry for his college meant nothing. I was their burden, not their mother. My phone buzzed in my purse. I fumbled it out, hands trembling. An email from Nathan sent yesterday stared back, investment plans moving forward thanks to you, Mom. My stomach twisted. He'd been draining my savings, not for emergencies, but for his failing business, for this lavish night. My fingers tightened on the phone nails, digging into my palm. How long had he planned this? How many lies had I swallowed? A memory flashed Sophie at 10, curled up on my couch, listening to my stories about her grandpa James. Her eyes sparkled, calling me her hero. Now she posted a photo online captioned, "Best birthday ever." Her smile beamed beside Nathan and Vanessa, their table crowded with plates. I wasn't in the frame. My chest tightened, breath, shallow as if I'd been erased. Sophie didn't know she was just a kid caught in their game, but Nathan and Vanessa. They chose this. I stepped closer, rain soaking my hair. Through the window, Nathan laughed, boasting about a new deal to Vanessa's parents. "It's all coming together," he said, his voice smug. "My money made that possible. My retirement fund scraped together over decades paid for their champagne, their oysters, their new beginnings. My knees wobbled, but I stayed rooted, unable to look away. Each clink of glass, each careless laugh was a nail in the coffin of my trust. Did I raise them, or just their greed? The question clawed at me, raw and relentless. I'd given Nathan everything, my time, my love, my savings. I thought it was love building a family. But now, standing in the rain, I saw it. I was their means, their bank, not their mother. My fingers clutched my purse, the receipt a burning truth. Anger flickered hot and new beneath the hurt. I wasn't invisible, not yet. My phone buzzed again, Nathan's name flashing. I stared at it, then at the card on their table, gleaming under the restaurant's lights. The jazz music swelled, mocking me. I could stop this. I could make them see me. My hand hovered over my phone, heart pounding like the rain. Could I really stop their feast? Nathan's text burned my screen. "You're a burden, Mom." Everyone saw it. I stood trembling outside the Crab Shack, rain soaking my coat, the neon sign humming like a taunt. The sidewalk was slick cold under my shoes, and the air carried the sharp tang of wet pavement. Across the street, a coffee shop glowed, its warm lights beckoning, but I couldn't move. My phone felt heavy. Nathan's words, a public slap. I'd texted him, "Why lie, desperate for truth?" His reply, pinging on Vanessa's phone inside, lit up for all to see. "You're a burden, Mom. Stay home." My face flushed shame, burning hot. Diners glanced at Vanessa's screen, their eyes darting to the window to me. My maternal love poured into years of sacrifice felt mocked, trampled. I remembered James, my late husband, his uneasy frown when Nathan took my credit card years ago. "Be careful, Evie," he'd muttered, his voice low. I brushed it off, then blind to the warning. Now standing in the rain, I saw it. Nathan's greed growing under my indulgence. I'd funded his college, sold my jewelry to keep him debt-free, worked nights to buy his first car. And this was my reward. A public insult my sacrifices erased. My fingers shook as I dialed Lorraine, my best friend, tears mixing with rain. The phone rang once, twice, then her voice sharp and steady cut through. "Evie, what's wrong?" I sobbed. "Nathan called me a burden." "They're in there, using my card." Lorraine's breath caught, then hardened. "You're their strength, not their burden, Evie. I'm coming." Her words landed like a lifeline. I clung to them, my heart pounding. A memory flashed me, wiping sweat from my brow at the diner, saving for Nathan's car, his grin when he got it. He never thanked me. Now he shamed me. I stumbled to my car, a cramped refuge, the smell of damp wool heavy. My purse spilled open, papers scattering. Among them, a torn diary page in Nathan's handwriting tucked inside listed Mom's funds next to business expenses. My breath hitched. He'd planned this, calculated every withdrawal from my savings. My anger hardened a steel rod in my spine. I wasn't just excluded, I was erased. My love reduced to a bank account. Was my love their debt or my mistake? The question stung raw and sharp as I gripped the page, my nails creasing it. Headlights pierced the rain, Lorraine's car pulling up. Her umbrella snapped open, a black shield against the storm. She stepped out, her silver hair glinting, her eyes fierce. I'd known her since our 20s when she lost her son to greed cut off over money disputes. She understood this pain, this betrayal. My phone buzzed again. Nathan probably with more excuses. I ignored it, my resolve sparking. I wouldn't let him bury me. Lorraine's boots splashed closer, her voice calling Evie. We're fighting back. My heart raced, not with fear, but with something new, defiance. The coffee shop's glow promised refuge, a place to plan. What was Lorraine's plan to fight back? I clutched the diary page, stepping toward her, ready to find out. Lorraine gripped my hand, her fingers warm and firm. "They don't own you, Evie," she said, her voice fierce. The coffee shop across from the crab shack hummed with life espresso machines, hissing warm lights casting a soft glow on wooden tables. Rain blurred the restaurant's neon signs where Nathan's Feast carried on a cruel mockery visible through the glass. The air smelled of roasted farmers market coffee, a Seattle staple mingling with the damp wool of my coat. I sat in a corner booth, trembling Nathan's text, "You're a burden." Mom still burning in my mind. His laughter across the street, his hand on my credit card, twisted the knife deeper. Lorraine ordered lattes, her silver hair catching the light. I lost my son to greed, Evie. "Don't lose yourself," she said, her eyes sharp with pain. Her son had cut her off years ago, demanding money she didn't have, leaving her alone. Her story hit me like a wave, stirring my resolve. I'd heard Nathan's secretive phone calls about money, his voice low, dodging my questions. I thought he was stressed, not scheming. Now, watching him laugh, my card gleaming on their table, I saw the truth. My sacrifices, giving up art school for James's career, working nights for Nathan's dreams, were just fuel for his greed. I fumbled my phone, hands shaky. Lorraine pulled out hers, downloading my banking app with quick taps. "Let's see what he's done," she said, her voice low. The screen loaded, revealing Nathan's frequent withdrawals, thousands from my retirement fund. My jaw tightened, breath short. A flashback hit Nathan's charming smile as he asked for card access. "Just for emergencies, Mom, I'd felt so proud, so needed." Now an email alert pinged, warning of unusual activity linked to Nathan's account. My heart pounded. He'd been siphoning my savings not for emergencies, but for this lobster champagne, his fake life. Did I give them my heart or just my wallet? The question clawed at me, raw and heavy. Lorraine's hand steadied mine. "You're stronger than this, Evie," she said. I nodded, anger rising hot and sharp, drowning the hurt. Across the street, Nathan raised a glass, his laugh loud, oblivious. My card sat there, a symbol of my erased love. I couldn't let it stand. Lorraine guided me to call the bank, her voice calm but unyielding. "Reset your login. Take control." I dialed the automated voice, cold, impersonal. My fingers shook, answering security questions, my first pet, my childhood street. Each answer grounded me, my voice growing firm. No more. I said to the bank, to Nathan, to the years of giving. The representative confirmed, "You're set, ma'am." Lorraine nodded, her eyes glinting. "You're stronger than he knows." My phone glowed, the banking app opened, the freeze account button pulsing. My finger hovered, heart racing like the rain outside. Anger burned, but fear lingered. Could I really do this? Lorraine's story, her strength pushed me forward. Across the street, Nathan's feast continued, my card shining. Could I stop it right now? I pressed freeze. Across the street, Nathan's smile vanished. His card declined. The coffee shop buzzed with tension, its warm lights dim against the slowing rain outside. Espresso machines hissed, their rhythm sharp, matching my racing pulse. Through the window, the Crab Shack's chaos unfolded. Glasses clinked in panic, diners' heads turned. The air hummed with roasted coffee and nervous energy, a mirror to my shifting heart. I gripped my phone, the banking app's confirmation glowing, account frozen. Nathan's world was crumbling, and I'd done it. I watched heart pounding as Nathan fumbled my credit card, sliding it into the reader again. The waiter shook his head, lips tight. Vanessa hissed, "Fix it, Nate." Her voice cutting through the jazz music. Her diamond earrings, my savings, flashed as she glared, pride wounded. Nathan's face paled, his blazer suddenly too big for his shrinking confidence. Sophie, my granddaughter, looked confused, her oyster plate untouched. My chest tightened. They were feasting on my life, my sacrifices, while calling me a burden. The insult from Nathan's text, "You're a burden." Mom still burned each laugh. Across the street, a fresh cut to my maternal love. Lorraine leaned across the table, her silver hair catching the light. "You did it, Evie," she said, grinning, raising her latte like a toast. Her pride warmed me, but my hands trembled, the thrill of power mixing with fear. Had I gone too far, I remembered James, my late husband, locking his desk drawer years ago, his face tense. "Keep this safe," he'd said, never explaining. That memory nagged, a hint of something hidden, something about Nathan. My phone buzzed, Clara's name flashing. I answered, my voice shaky. "Mom, I'm so sorry," she said, her words thick with guilt. "I didn't see your sacrifices like when you worked through my 16th birthday." A flashback hit me alone in my diner uniform, crying because I couldn't afford her gift, choosing her college fund instead. Clara's voice broke. "I was wrong, Mom. Nathan's lying to you. I'll help you stop him." Her remorse, raw and sincere, softened my anger, planting a seed of hope. She wanted to rebuild what we'd lost. Was I their burden or their strength? The question hung heavy. My eyes locked on Nathan's panic. He waved his hands, arguing with the waiter, while Vanessa's parents rummaged through wallets, faces red. I'd given Nathan everything: my art school, dreams, my nights at the diner, my retirement fund. His betrayal, feasting while claiming dinners canceled, mocked it all. The audience would feel my rage, the injustice of a mother erased. Lorraine clinked her cup against mine. "To your fight, Evie," she said, her voice bright. I nodded, my resolve hardening, but my fingers brushed a small key in my purse, cold and heavy. James's drawer. I'd forgotten it until now, its lock a mystery. A memory flickered his hand on that drawer, eyes worried, glancing at Nathan. What had he hidden? My anger at Nathan surged, but Clara's call lingered, a soft warmth in my chest. I stared at the key, its edges biting my palm. My gaze flicked to the Crab Shack where Nathan's facade cracked, Vanessa's voice shrill. The grilled chicken on their menu, a Pacific Northwest favorite, mocked me, another piece of my money, my life. I wasn't done yet. The key glinted in my hand, promising answers. What was hidden in James's drawer? The drawer creaked open. James's voice crackled on an old tape warning me. I sat at my desk in my Seattle apartment, the dim light casting shadows across faded wallpaper. Rain pattered softly on the balcony, where my lavender plants swayed their scent, heavy in the air. A clock ticked steady and slow, grounding the reflective mood. The key I'd found in my purse fit James's old desk drawer, its lock stiff with years of neglect. My hands shook as I pulled it open, revealing a yellowed envelope and a cassette tape dusty but untouched. I slid the tape into an ancient player, its click loud in the quiet. James's voice, rough and familiar, filled the room. "Nathan's greed will hurt you, Evie." My breath caught anger flaring. The letter in James's tight scrawl lay heavy in my hands. "Protect yourself," it urged. I traced the words, my fingers trembling. Nathan's betrayal at the crab shack, feasting on my savings, calling me a burden burned fresh. I'd given up art school for James's career, pouring my dreams into our family, only to have Nathan drain me dry. James's uneasy glances years ago when Nathan took my credit card flashed in my mind. He'd seen this coming and I hadn't listened. Now his warning validated my anger, but a pang of guilt twisted inside. Was I right to freeze Nathan's account? My phone buzzed, Nathan's name flashing. His voicemail played his voice, dripping with fake remorse. "I'm sorry, Mom. Let's talk." His tears sounded rehearsed, a ploy to claw back my money. My stomach churned disgust, rising. He'd mocked my maternal love, using my savings for lobster and champagne while texting dinners canceled. The audience would see that his manipulation, his betrayal cutting deeper than his insult. I tossed the phone aside, its clatter sharp on the desk. Did I fail Nathan, or did he fail us? The question gnawed, splitting my heart between rage and doubt. A memory hit me young and hopeful, quitting art school to support James's job, his gratitude quiet but real. He grew distant as Nathan's demands, new bikes, college tuition piled up. I worked nights, my hands raw to keep Nathan happy. James watched silent, his eyes heavy with regret. Now his tape echoed that regret, his voice breaking. "Protect yourself, Evie." The letter hinted at a family secret he never shared, something beyond Nathan's greed. My fingers gripped the tape knuckles white. Guilt tugged. Nathan was my son, my boy, but his lies, his feast, his burden text fueled my anger. I murmured, "You don't get to use me anymore." My voice steady, though tears wet my cheeks. The rain slowed, a soft patter like Seattle's jazz clubs, where James and I once danced, swaying to Ella Fitzgerald. Those nights felt like another life before Nathan's greed took root. My resolve hardened, but guilt lingered a shadow on my heart. The tape's final words echoed a secret, hidden something James protected me from. What was it? I stood, the letter in one hand, the tape in the other, anger and guilt battling inside. I had to know. If your own child screamed you were a burden in front of everyone, would you crumble or rise? What came next shattered more than my heart. Drop a 6 in the comments if you've ever felt unseen by those you gave everything to. We're about to step into the part that still stings the most. Nathan's fist smashed my photo album. "You owe me, Mom," he roared. Evening rain drummed on my Seattle apartment's balcony, drowning the lavender scent that usually calmed me. The hallway echoed with Nathan's shouts, his voice raw with fury. My living room, once a haven, felt small, the air thick with tension. Shattered photos, James smiling Clara's first birthday. Sophie's tiny hand in mine lay scattered on the floor, my cherished album broken by Nathan's rage. My heart pounded, fear mingling with anger, but I stood firm, the bolt locked tight. My phone had buzzed an hour ago, Nathan's text chilling. "Answer me, Mom." I ignored it, still reeling from James's tape, his voice warning Nathan's greed will hurt you. I'd indulged Nathan too long, buying his college tuition, his cars, his dreams, thinking it was love. Now he stood outside my door, banging hard, the wood shuddering. "You froze my account," he yelled, pushing the door, nearly hitting me as it strained against the lock. My breath caught hands shaking. He threw my album, its spine cracking, memories spilling like blood. This wasn't my boy anymore. I clutched my phone, dialing Lorraine, my voice trembling. "He's here, Lorraine." He broke my album. Her reply snapped through, fierce and steady. "He's lost it, Evie. You haven't." A memory flashed me, soothing Nathan's tantrums, wiping his tears, giving him everything. Those days were gone. Lorraine's voice hardened. "Call the police, Evie. You're done being his victim." Her own pain, estrangement from her son over money fueled her fire. She knew this betrayal, this loss. Her words steadied me, anger drowning fear. Was I his mother or his victim? The question cut deep, Nathan's shouts ringing in my ears. My phone buzzed again. Clara texting Mom Nathan's business is collapsing. He's desperate. Her warning, born from her own regret for misunderstanding me, strengthened my resolve. I rummaged through my purse, finding a debt collector's voicemail left yesterday. "Mr. Harper, your overdue balance." My stomach twisted. Nathan's lies, his hidden debts, piled up, all funded by my savings. The audience would rage at his disrespect, smashing the album that held my love for him. I dialed 911, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "There's a man at my door threatening me," I said, refusing to name my son. The operator's calm questions grounded me. Outside, Nathan's banging slowed, his voice hoarse. "You owe me, Mom," he shouted, but I didn't flinch. I'd given up art school for James' work nights for Nathan, sacrificed everything. No more. The rain pounded, matching my pulse as Lorraine's words echoed. "You're not his victim." Sirens wailed outside, tires screeching on wet pavement. My fingers gripped the phone, resolve solid. Would Nathan back down or keep fighting? The broken album lay at my feet, a Pacific Northwest keepsake now ruined, like my trust in him. Nathan's words echoed in my head. "You're nothing without us." I wasn't listening anymore. Morning sunlight streamed through the curtains of my Seattle apartment, warming the faded rug. The lavender scent from my balcony plants drifted in soft and calming, but my hands still shook from last night. Nathan's rage, smashing my photo album, pushing my door, had left me rattled but resolute. I stood at my kitchen counter, coffee mug warm in my palms, James's letter flashing in my mind. "Protect yourself, Evie." His warning fueled me now, pushing me toward a fight I'd avoided too long. At a community center down the street, the air buzzed with tension, folding chairs creaking under a small crowd of family friends. Nathan sat across from me, his blazer-rumpled eyes hard. "You're nothing without us, Mom." He snapped, his voice loud, cutting through murmurs. Heads turned, eyes wide. My face burned his words, a public gut punch, denying every sacrifice my art school dreams diner, shifts my retirement fund. Clara, my daughter, stood up, her voice sharp. "You're our strength, Mom, not his pawn." Sophie, my granddaughter, tugged my sleeve, her eyes bright. "You're my hero, Grandma," she whispered. Their love grounded me, my spine straightening. I wasn't nothing. I was theirs. Back in my apartment, Lorraine sat across from me, her silver hair catching the light. She spread bank statements on the table, her fingers quick. "Time to cut him off, Evie," she said, her voice pragmatic but proud. I nodded, my resolve burning. A memory hit Nathan years ago, calling me his rock after I paid his college fees. His smile warm. Now that pride felt tainted, his greed clear. I rummaged through my purse, finding a photo of James holding the letter's envelope, his eyes worried. My breath caught. What else had he hidden? Lorraine's gaze softened. My son turned on me too, she said, her estrangement raw. "You're stronger than I was." Her words lit a fire in me. The bank's sterile lobby hummed, keyboards clicking, fluorescent lights harsh. I sat at a desk signing papers to revoke Nathan's access, my hand steady. The banker, a young man with tired eyes, nodded. "All done, Miss Harper." My heart raced, empowerment mixing with nerves. Clara's text buzzed. "He needs to face you, Mom. Do it at the Crab Shack." Her commitment, born from regret over my absence at her 16th birthday, steadied me. I'd worked late that day, saving for her future, crying alone. Now she stood with me. Sophie's words echoed, "You're my hero," pushing me forward. I decided then I'd confront Nathan publicly, where his betrayal began. Did I lose my son or find myself? The question lingered sharp and clear as I clutched the photo of James. Nathan's voice. You're nothing fated against Clara's defense, Sophie's love, Lorraine's pride. The community center's meeting, a Seattle suburban staple, had shown me my allies. My fingers traced the photo's edge, James's warning alive in me. I'd face Nathan at the Crab Shack papers and hand my resolve aflame. Would I find the strength to end this? James's letter screamed in my hands. Nathan's greed runs deep. I was ready to end it. Afternoon light filtered into my Seattle apartment, a breeze rustling my lavender plants, their scent sharp and clear. The air felt electric heavy with the showdown I knew was coming. I sat at my kitchen table, the letters' yellowed pages trembling in my grip. James's words. Nathan's greed will take everything burned into me, tying to the crackling tape from days ago, his voice warning me to protect myself. My resolve hardened a steel blade forged from anger. Nathan's betrayal feasting at the Crab Shack, calling me a burden, smashing my album had stripped away my silence. I met Lorraine at the bank, its quiet corner humming with tension, keyboards clicking under fluorescent lights. Nathan was there, invited to discuss the frozen account, his blazer-wrinkled eyes darting. I deserved your money, Mom. He snapped his voice, loud, defiant. My jaw clenched, rage flaring. He denied every sacrifice my art school dreams abandoned for James's career, my diner shifts to fund his college, my retirement savings drained for his lifestyle. The audience would see that his gall, his betrayal of my maternal love, cutting deep. Lorraine's hand brushed mine, her eyes sharp. He's justifying lies, Evie, she whispered. Her own pain estrangement from her son fueled her triumph, now knowing I'd fight back. At the bank, Lorraine spread debt records across the desk, each page a stab thousands from my savings funding Nathan's failing business. My heart pounded the truth raw. Clara called, her voice steady but urgent. Mom, Nathan lied about his business to guilt you. She said her remorse now resolve. He said it was for us, but it was for him. A memory flashed James's regretful look as Nathan took my card. Years ago, his eyes heavy, tying to the letter's warning. I'd missed Clara's 16th birthday working late to save for her future, crying alone. Her support now vowing to expose Nathan lit a spark of hope in my anger. Was my silence love or weakness? The question sliced through me as sharp as the farmer's market breeze drifting through my window earlier. Back at the bank, Lorraine showed me Vanessa's text to Nathan intercepted from his phone. You ruined us. Her fury born from her prideful chase for status hinted she'd leave him. My fingers gripped the legal papers to disinherit Nathan, their weight solid, my resolve ironclad. I'd given up everything, my youth, my dreams, my savings for a son who saw me as a bank. No more. Lorraine nodded, her smile triumphant. You're taking your place back, she said. I stood, papers in hand, my heart a steady drum. The bank's sterile air felt alive, charged with my decision. I'd confront Nathan at the Crab Shack where his betrayal began and end it. Clara's call, Lorraine's guidance, James's letter, they all pushed me forward. My heels clicked on the floor, purposeful as I headed out the Seattle breeze, carrying my resolve. Would Nathan face my truth or crumble under it? I stormed the Crab Shack papers in hand. Nathan's fork froze midair. Sunlight glinted off the restaurant's glass walls, Seattle's lunch crowd bustling inside. Plates clinked, conversations hummed, but all eyes turned as I marched through the door. The air smelled of grilled seafood, sharp and rich, a Pacific Northwest staple. Outside, a fountain splashed its rhythm, steady, a promise of release. My heart pounded, James's letter echoing in my mind. Protect yourself, Evie. I'd frozen Nathan's account, exposed his lies, and now with legal papers clutched tight, I'd end his betrayal where it began. Nathan sat at a corner table, his blazer rumpled, Vanessa beside him, her earrings, my savings flashing. You're embarrassing me, Mom. he stammered, his voice loud, face reddening as diners turned. I slammed the papers down, their thud silencing the jazz music's hum. "You're done using me, Nathan," I said, my voice clear, unyielding. I'd given up art school for James, worked nights for Nathan's dreams, poured my life into him. His insults, "You're a burden," "You're nothing," and his justification, "I deserved your money," had mocked my maternal love. The audience would cheer my stand, his greed laid bare. I leaned forward, eyes locked on his. "You took my savings, my love, my life," I said, each word sharp. "Your debts, your lies, they end now." Vanessa's face twisted, pride wounded. "You're a failure, Nate," she hissed, shoving her chair back. She stormed out, heels clicking, abandoning him to save her status. A memory flashed, Nathan's burden text, the pain of his feast at my expense. Now I avenged it. Diners whispered, their forks stilled as Nathan's facade cracked, his hands shaking. My phone buzzed mid-confrontation. Nathan's text flashing, "Mom, please." His desperation, a pathetic plea, confirmed his collapse. I ignored it, my resolve aflame. Sophie's voice echoed in my heart. "You're my hero, Grandma." Her loyalty born from our storytelling nights fueling me. Nathan slumped, voice cracking. "I love you, Mom," he begged, tears welling. I slid my wedding ring off a family heirloom heavy with years of sacrifice. Stepping outside, I tossed it into the fountain, it splashed loud. "Love needs respect," I said, my voice steady. Diners gasped, heads turning as I walked away free. Did I free myself or lose him forever? The question lingered, but my heart felt light, unburdened. Nathan's greed enabled by my indulgence, college cars, his failing business had chained me. Vanessa's exit, her pride shattered, marked his downfall. Sophie's love, Clara's support carried me forward. The fountain splash. A Seattle landmark echoed my release. Nathan stumbled after me, sobbing. "Mom, wait!" His voice cracked, desperate. Would I turn back? My heels clicked on the pavement, each step a declaration of my place. The letter's ashes drifted away. My heart stayed whole. Evening lamplight cast a warm glow across my Seattle apartment, the lavender scent from my balcony plants curling through the open door. The quiet suburb stretched below its stillness, a comfort after weeks of chaos. Cookies baked in the oven, their buttery aroma, a Pacific Northwest ritual wrapping the room in warmth. I stood on the balcony, the burned remains of James's letter scattering in the breeze. His warning, "Nathan's greed will hurt you," had freed me. I smiled, feeling light, my liberation complete. I'd confronted Nathan at the crab shack, his desperate plea, "Mom, please," echoing as I tossed my ring into the fountain. Sophie's words from days ago, "You're my hero." Grandma anchored me now, tying me to a new family built on respect. A memory flashed, my wedding ring, heavy with years of sacrifice, art school abandoned for James's career. I'd carried that weight for Nathan, for Clara, for love. Now it was gone, and I was free. Clara and Sophie arrived, their knock soft but eager. Clara's arms wrapped around me, her eyes bright. "We're your family now, Mom," she said, her voice steady, healing the rift from her 16th birthday when I'd worked late, unable to afford her gift. Sophie, clutching a drawing, tugged my sleeve. "I love you, Grandma," she said, handing me the paper. A note tucked inside read, "You're my hero." My throat tightened, joy replacing the guilt, Nathan's betrayal, his album destruction, his "you're nothing" had left, their love, Clara's commitment. Sophie's devotion was my strength. We sat sharing cookies, laughing over old stories, Sophie's favorite about my painting days, before I gave it up. Lorraine swept in her silver hair, gleaming a bottle of wine in hand. "To your place, Evie." She toasted, raising her glass. Her elation born from her own estrangement lit the room. We clinked glasses, joking about a Hawaii trip, sunsets, and sandy beaches. Clara's phone buzzed, a text flashing. Vanessa had left Nathan, his world crumbling. The news landed lightly, a final consequence. Nathan's greed, his verbal attacks, his shattered album faded against this warmth. Was family what I gave or what I chose? I chose this. Clara Sophie Lorraine. The oven pinged cookies. Golden. Sophie giggled, grabbing one her drawing pinned to my fridge. Clara squeezed my hand, her remorse now joy. Lorraine's laughter rang her pride infectious. My heart swelled, no longer Nathan's victim, but my own woman. Clara's text about Vanessa glowed on her phone. What was Nathan's fate now? I didn't care, my place secure in this new family. My lavender bloomed purple and proud. So did I. Morning light bathed my Seattle apartment's balcony, the salty coastal breeze carrying the ocean's whisper across the quiet suburb below. My lavender plants stood vibrant, their scent weaving through the air, mingling with the fresh paint on my walls, a soft cream, a glow of renewal. The apartment, once a shadow of sacrifices, now hummed with life. New curtains in sage green, a woven rug in earth tones, a small easel in the corner holding my first painting in decades. I knelt in the dirt humming an old Ella Fitzgerald tune, my hands steady as I pruned a stem. 3 months ago, I'd asked myself, standing in this same spot, was I their mother or just their means? Now I knew. I was Evie Harper, whole myself, no longer defined by Nathan's greed. I stood brushing soil from my hands, my gaze sweeping the balcony. The lavender planted years ago when James was alive had been my anchor through grief, his death. Clara's distance, Nathan's betrayal, the crab shack feast funded by my savings, his cruel words, "You're a burden, you're nothing," and the shattered photo album still lingered faint scars on my heart. But tossing my wedding ring into that fountain delivering legal papers to disinherit him had unshackled me. I'd given up art school for James's career, worked diner nights for Nathan's dreams, poured my retirement fund into his failing business. His betrayal had mocked my maternal love, but now I nurtured myself. Peace settled in my chest, warm and steady like the breeze lifting my hair. Inside, I brewed coffee, its rich aroma filling the kitchen. My phone sat quiet, no more desperate texts from Nathan, no more pleas. A letter from Clara lay on the counter, her neat handwriting, a comfort, a drawing from Sophie tucked inside. Their family portrait, me, Clara. Sophie laughing under a sketch sun warmed me. Clara's words detailed our recent visits, Sunday dinners, Sophie's giggles healing the rift from her 16th birthday, when I'd worked late, unable to afford her gift. I'd cried alone that night, saving for her college, thinking love meant sacrifice. Now Clara's commitment, her remorse turned to joy, proved love could be mutual. Sophie's note, "You're my hero." Grandma glowed in my mind, her loyalty born from our storytelling nights, tales of my painting days, of James's quiet smiles. I pinned the drawing to the fridge, its colors bright against the steel. Lorraine's text buzzed. Hawaii tickets booked, Evie sunsets await. I smiled, picturing us sipping cocktails on a beach, her silver hair glinting in the sun. Her estrangement from her son, a wound like mine, had fueled her pride in my fight. We'd laughed last night, planning our trip, joking about learning to hula. Clara's letter mentioned Nathan's collapse, his business bankrupt, Vanessa gone her pride, driving her to her parents. The news, a final clue to his irrelevance, barely stirred me. His downfall was his own, built on lies, the feast, the insults, the broken album. I let it go, my heart light focused on the family I'd chosen. I stepped back to the balcony, coffee mug warm in my hands. The coastal breeze, a Seattle hallmark, carried salt and freedom mirroring my own. I'd reclaimed my place, not the one Nathan stole, but a new one built on my terms. My easel stood ready, a canvas half-painted with bold purples, a nod to my lavender, to my youth. I'd started painting again, reclaiming the art I'd abandoned for James. A memory surfaced, our early days, slow dancing to jazz in a Seattle club, his hands steady, my dreams still alive. I'd given them up for him, for Nathan, for Clara, thinking that was love. Now I knew better. Love needed respect for them and for myself. Clara's letter lay open her words, a bridge across years of distance. She wrote of Sophie's school play, how she'd beamed when I attended clapping loudest. Sophie's drawing showed us together, her small hand sketching my smile. I traced it, my throat tight. Clara had apologized again for her 16th birthday when my absence working late to save for her future had built a wall between us. She saw my strength now, her love, a gift, not a debt. Lorraine's voice echoed from our last call. "You're thriving, Evie." Her pride, her own pain healed through mine, was a beacon. Nathan's absence, his business gone. Vanessa fled felt like a closed chapter, no longer my story. I sipped my coffee, the breeze cool on my face. The lavender swayed purple blooms vibrant against the gray sky. I'd spent decades giving my youth my savings, my heart thinking it made me a mother. Nathan's greed had shattered that, but Clara Sophie Lorraine rebuilt it. Did I reclaim my place or build a new one? I'd built it. Lavender laughter. Love chosen, not owed. Standing on my balcony, I declared, "This is my place," my voice soft but sure, carried by the breeze. A new canvas waited inside its colors, calling me. What would I paint next? I stood on my balcony, the lavender swaying in Seattle's salty breeze, my declaration. This is my place, still ringing in my ears. The morning sun warmed my face, glinting off the fresh paint on my apartment walls, a canvas of renewal. I'd thought Nathan's downfall, his business, bankrupt Vanessa gone, had closed that chapter. Clara's letter, Sophie's drawing, Lorraine's toast to our Hawaii trip, had anchored my new family, built on respect, not sacrifice. But as I sipped my coffee, the mug warm in my hands, a knock rattled my door sharp and insistent, like a ghost refusing to stay buried. I froze, the breeze suddenly cool. My heart thudded, a familiar dread creeping in. I set the mug down, its clink loud on the counter, and crossed the living room, my new rug soft underfoot. Through the peephole, Nathan's face stared back, older, gaunt, his blazer frayed at the cuffs. My breath caught. I disinherited him, tossed my ring, walked away from his pleas at the crab shack. What did he want now? I opened the door a crack, the chain taut. "Nathan." I said, my voice steady but wary. His eyes, red-rimmed, darted to mine. "Mom, I need you," he whispered, his voice breaking not with manipulation but something rawer. Was this another trick, or had he changed? I remembered his betrayal, feasting on my savings, calling me a burden, smashing my photo album. My fingers tightened on the door, resolve wavering. I'd given up art school, for James worked nights for Nathan's dreams, thinking love meant giving all. But love needed respect, and he'd given none. Yet his slumped shoulders, the tremble in his hands, stirred a flicker of pity. I shut the door, my heart racing, and leaned against it, the wood cool. My phone buzzed. "Clara texting, Nathan's been asking about you. Be careful, Mom." Her warning, rooted in her own journey from distance to devotion, grounded me. I'd missed her 16th birthday working late to save for her future, and now her love was my strength. I stepped back to the balcony, needing air. The lavender's scent calmed me, but questions swirled. Did I owe Nathan a chance, or just myself? A memory flashed, James locking his desk drawer, his face tense, hinting at a secret beyond Nathan's greed. I'd found his letter, his tape. But what if there was more? I rummaged through my desk, finding a small locked journal, its key lost. My fingers traced its leather cover embossed with James's initials. A new secret perhaps tied to Nathan's past, my sacrifices. I called Lorraine, her voice a beacon. "Evie, what's happening?" She asked, her tone sharp, protective. "Nathan's back," I said, my voice low. "And I found something, a journal." She paused, then said, "Come to the coffee shop. We'll figure this out." The coffee shop, a Seattle staple, hummed with espresso machines and warm lights. Lorraine sat across from me, her silver hair catching the glow, a latte steaming between us. My son came back once she said her estrangement, a shared wound. "Don't let Nathan pull you under." She slid my phone over, urging me to check my accounts. A new email alert blinked, a bank transfer attempt, blocked from Nathan's old account. My stomach twisted, anger flaring. He hadn't changed, he was still chasing my money, but his broken look lingered, complicating my resolve. Clara arrived, Sophie in tow, her drawing from last month pinned in my heart. "You're my hero," Grandma Sophie said, hugging me, her warmth a shield. Clara's eyes, once clouded by misunderstanding, now shone with resolve. "We're with you, Mom," she said, squeezing my hand. We opened the journal, its pages brittle. James's handwriting filled it, not a letter, but a diary of regrets. He'd known Nathan's greed early, seen it in his teenage demands, my endless giving. "I failed Evie," he wrote, letting Nathan take too much. My throat tightened, tears pricking. I'd sacrificed art school for James, thinking it built our family, but he'd carried guilt hiding this journal to spare me pain. A final entry mentioned a family truth he couldn't share, tied to Nathan's birth. My heart raced. What truth? Lorraine's hand steadied mine. "You don't need to solve this alone," she said. Sophie's drawing taped to my purse reminded me I had a family now chosen, not owed. I walked home, the journal heavy in my bag. The coastal breeze swept through, salty and free like my new life. I painted that evening bold purples, streaking my canvas, a nod to my lavender, my youth reclaimed. But Nathan's knock, his broken voice lingered. Clara's warning, Lorraine's strength. Sophie's love, they held me up. I'd confront this new secret, whatever it was, not for Nathan, but for me. What truth did James hide, and would it change everything? The journal lay open on my kitchen table, James's handwriting a ghost in the dim Seattle light. The salty coastal breeze drifted through my balcony door, stirring the lavender's scent, but it couldn't calm the storm in my chest. I'd thought my stand at the crab shack, tossing my ring, disinheriting Nathan, had sealed my freedom. Clara's letter, Sophie's drawing, Lorraine's toast to our Hawaii trip, had built a new family, one rooted in respect. But Nathan's knock yesterday, his gaunt face and broken voice, "Mom, I need you," had cracked that piece. And now James's journal, with its cryptic mention of a family truth tied to Nathan's birth, pulled me back into shadows I'd thought I'd left behind. I traced the journal's leather cover, its embossed initials cold under my fingers. The apartment hummed with quiet, the clock ticking softly, a reminder of time I'd reclaimed. I'd given up art school for James' work, diner nights for Nathan's dreams, poured my savings into his greed. His betrayal, feasting on my money, calling me a burden. Smashing my photo album had nearly broken me. Yet Clara's love, Sophie's loyalty, Lorraine's strength had rebuilt me. Why then did Nathan's return stir doubt? Was it pity or a mother's lingering hope? I called Clara, my voice low. Nathan came back. I said the words heavy. Her breath caught over the phone. "Be careful, Mom," she said, her tone sharp, protective. "He's desperate, but he hasn't changed." Her warning echoed her own journey from misunderstanding my absence at her 16th birthday to standing by me now. A memory flashed Clara's tearful face when I worked late, unable to afford her gift, saving for her future instead. Her love, now her commitment, was a shield. I found James's journal, I added. It mentions a secret about Nathan's birth. Clara paused, then said, "Come to my place. We'll read it together." I drove to Clara's house, the Seattle rain light misting my windshield. Her home, a small craftsman in a quiet suburb, smelled of fresh-baked cookies, a Pacific Northwest ritual Sophie loved. Clara greeted me, her hug warm, her eyes searching mine. Sophie ran in her ponytail, bouncing, clutching a sketchbook. "Grandma, look," she said, showing me a new drawing, us three laughing under a tree. Her loyalty, born from our storytelling nights, warmed my heart. I clutched the journal, its weight a question mark. What had James hidden? We sat at Clara's kitchen table, cookies cooling, the journal open. Lorraine arrived, her silver hair glinting, her voice steady. "Let's face this, Evie," she said, her own estrangement fueling her resolve. We read James's words. Nathan's greed started young, but there's more. A truth I couldn't tell Evie. My stomach twisted. A flashback hit James the night Nathan was born, his face pale, whispering something to a nurse I couldn't hear. Had he hidden something even then? Clara's hand found mine, her remorse now strength. "Whatever it is, Mom will handle it," she said. Sophie nodded, her eyes wide. "You're my hero, Grandma." Lorraine flipped through the journal, finding a folded note, its edges worn. It wasn't James's writing, but a woman's dated 1987, the year Nathan was born. "Tell Evie," one day it read, signed Ellen. My heart raced. Who was Ellen? A new secret, a shadow over Nathan's birth, loomed larger than his greed. Lorraine's eyes narrowed. "This changes things," she said, her voice low. My phone buzzed an email alert from the bank. Another block transfer attempt, Nathan's name attached. Anger flared. He was still after my money even now. But his broken face lingered, a crack in my resolve. I stepped outside to Clara's porch, the rain soft, the breeze salty. I clutched the note, its words a mystery. Had I ever truly known Nathan? The question cut deep, my maternal love tested again. I'd built a new place, lavender paintings. Clara, Sophie, Lorraine, but this secret, this Ellen threatened to pull me back. Clara joined me, her hand on my shoulder. "We're your family, Mom," she said, her voice firm. Sophie's drawing, taped to my purse, glowed in my mind. I nodded, resolve rebuilding, but the note burned in my hand. What truth was James hiding, and what would it cost me to uncover it? The tape's final words, "A secret James hid," still echoed in my Seattle apartment, the lavender scent mingling with my resolve to uncover Nathan's betrayal. I'd faced his greed, his cruel, "You're a burden" text, and frozen his account, reclaiming my strength after years of sacrifice. Family isn't just what we give, but what we choose to nurture with respect and truth. In life, love can falter, but it finds a way back when we listen to each other's hearts like Clara did, offering me hope. My journey taught me that letting go of those who hurt us opens space for those who lift us up, like Sophie's sweet loyalty. If this story touched you, please share your own in the comments below. Your voice, like mine, deserves to be heard.